Hello there and welcome back to BuildQ. So in today's video, I got something a little interesting, something that's not really the most conventional, at least as far as I'm aware. If you've watched any of my other videos, you can tell that I like to use Nexus a lot whenever I'm using artifact repositories. But in this case, I want to swap it over to Gitlab. I want to use the package registry on Gitlab and I want to store my artifacts over there instead. Now, right off the bat, I understand this may seem concerning. Why are we using Jenkins to push up to GitLab's package registry? I mean, doesn't GitLab have a built-in CI/CD pipeline that you can go ahead and set up that will automatically deploy to the package registry and store your artifacts? And the answer is yes, and that does make the most sense. However, even though it makes the most sense to a lot of us, the realistic version of it is a lot of companies are already used to using Jenkins. They're already used to using their own solutions, and typically if they are trying to migrate over to GitLab, there's sort of a transitionary period where you sort of have to feel things out and you don't want to just go ahead and just wipe everything away that you've already done. So this is sort of a stepping stone in the transition over to GitLab CI/CD. Now that's enough of an introduction. Let's go ahead and meet over on GitLab. So go ahead and sign into your GitLab account. Now what I'm going to be doing since I went ahead and signed in is I'm going to be updating a few things over here on the Jenkins Unity test project. This is a project that I used in the course that I created for building Unity projects with Jenkins. It doesn't necessarily matter. You don't necessarily need this project. If you have your own, all this should work the exact same. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and navigate inside this project. I'm going to select settings. I'm going to go to general. And once again, I'm just going to check and verify some settings here real quick and change things if needed. So I'm going to open up visibility, project features, permissions, and I'm going to scroll down to package registry to see and make sure it's enabled, and it is enabled, so good. We're able to use the package registry. Okay, now if you have GitLab Ultimate, you may slightly deviate from me here. If you have GitLab Ultimate, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and create an access token, and I want you to give it permissions to be able to update packages. And it's going to have to be at least a developer role or higher. So make sure that you specify those in the settings. As for myself, I had to use a personal access token. I don't have GitLab Ultimate on my personal PC here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate home and I'm going to go ahead and create that. From the home page, I'm going to select my icon. I'm going to select preferences. I'm going to select access tokens. I currently have one that I'm using, but I'm just going to use a different one. I'm going to add a new token. I'm going to name this one Gitlab Package Registry token. I'm going to clear out the expiration date, just that sets it to a year in advance. And then I'm going to check write registry, and I'm going to check read registry and the top two, the API and read API. I probably don't need all these permissions up here at the top, but just to be safe, I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to select create personal access token. Now with this personal access token that you just created, just a reminder, you're only going to be able to see this once. So if you lose track of it, you're going to have to create another one. So personally, I'm going to store this over on my Jenkins server. So let's go ahead and migrate this over there now. Okay, so I'm on Jenkins now. I'm going to sign in. After I've signed in, I'm going to select manage Jenkins. Ignore all these here at the top. I'm going to select credentials. I'm going to select global, add credentials, and the type that we want to use here, the kind up at the top, I want to use secret text. I'm going to go ahead and copy over the token name, and I'm going to use that for the ID, and then I'm going to copy my personal access token, and then I'm going to set that to the password here inside of here. I'm going to set the secret value equal to that. And then I went ahead and added a description. It says this will be used to authenticate against GitLab when exporting to the package registry, and then select create. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to open up a Jenkins file for one of my previous projects, and I'm going to go ahead and modify my deployment. Currently it's pointing to Nexus, but now I want it to point to GitLab. So I'll see you over in VS Code. Okay, now that I'm on my Jenkins file, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and expand on the environment variables here. So in my environment variables section, I'm just going to link the credentials that we just created. And that wasn't really all too bad. I just went ahead and added this environment variable here. It's called Gitlab Package Registry token. And then I'm setting it equal to credentials of the same name, which is Gitlab Package Registry token. Now, after you've added your Gitlab Package Registry token, the next thing that you want to add here is a GitLab API URL. So that's another variable. And I have this set to gitlab.com/API/v4/projects/project ID, which I'll show you how to get that in a second. Although I have it specified up here at the top, so make sure that you go ahead and put your project ID up here at the top, /packages, and then since I'm just putting zip files or Android bundles, I'm just using a generic type here, so I just put generic. So how do we find this project ID? Well, you want to navigate back over to GitLab. After you're at GitLab, you want to go to your project. You want to go down to settings, general, and then up at the very top here, you have your project ID. You want to go ahead and copy that. And I usually just set mine up here at the very top. After you've created your environment variables up at the top, what I'm personally going to do is I'm going to hijack one of my deployment stages. I'm going to hijack the deployment for Windows, because this is a multi-platform project here. And currently what this is doing is it's exporting the artifacts off to Nexus. Instead, I'm going to make it export to the Gitlab Package Registry. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out a lot of what's here. I went ahead and brought back the build date. I like to timestamp my builds. And then I went ahead and set the date as an environment variable to be used whenever I'm naming my artifact that I'm posting. After setting the environment variable, that brings us to this bat block here. And what's happening here is this is going to authenticate against GitLab and the API. And then we're going to upload the file that we created whenever we were doing a Windows build. And then it's going to post it at the API location. And we went ahead and set that variable up above. And the platform here listed is Windows, since this is going to be deploying a Windows build. So the package name is going to be Windows. And then this is an optional tag. This one is 1.0 just for a filler version number. And then here's my build. It's going to be renamed to datetime underscore Windows. So it's going to grab the date up in this format here, underscore windows.zip. And this should be it. This should export everything to the package registry as long as everything's set up correctly. So let's go ahead and save this, push it up to your repository, and then let's test things out. So I'll see you over on Jenkins. So now I'm over here on Jenkins. I went ahead and logged in. I'm on the dashboard, and here is my job that is responsible for Windows. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to select build with parameters. I'm going to select build Windows and deploy Windows, and let's see what happens. There's going to be a little bit of wait time, so I'll see you in a minute. And after a couple minutes, it seems like everything is done and everything succeeded, at least from what it says. Let's check this log here, and message 201 created. That's what you're looking for. So nice. Everything posted. So let's go check things out over on GitLab. I'm back over here on GitLab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to deploy package registry, and we have a package here, and the package name is Windows, and it's tagged with 1.0 and generic. Nice. So any subsequent builds that we create are going to come here. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the build again, and I want to see how it populates in here if we add multiple builds. So be back in just a second. I'm going to run another job. Now this build completed in half the time. That's nice. So let's go check the package registry. So if I come back here and I select refresh, now you can see there are two builds here, two timestamp builds. So all of them are going to be going inside of this package, and I can retrieve these individually just by selecting these and then downloading them wherever I want to download them. So nice. So I'm going to come back to the root of the package registry, and personally, since I'm working on a Unity project here, I can have different packages for different build platforms. So I can have a Windows package. All of these will be labeled as 1.0. If I have another release, I can up this to 2.0 and it will create another package. So all the contents won't just be dumped into this one. So all of my Windows builds that are 1.0 tagged are going to live within here. And if I create a WebGL build instead, it will create a WebGL package or an Android package or an iOS package. So great, everything's working exactly how I want it. So nice. Now that one was rather simple. There's not really all too much to this video, but I figured that this would be something that would be helpful for people out there, because this is also something that was a little bit elusive for me, and it took me a little bit before I got it working right. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below or contact me if you want. All my information's in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.